Welcome to KF1, Singapore's largest outdoor go-karting track.
KF1 Karting at Kranji is Singapore's largest go-karting track, spanning 960 meters across 18 corners. The circuit was designed by German ex-touring car driver and circuit designer Hermann Tilke, who has designed some of the world's best tracks, including the Marina Bay Street Circuit and Sepang across the border in Malaysia. I'm here to jump in some of their rental karts in 3 10-minute sessions and see what sort of lap times I can set. So let's jump into the kart for our first session. As we head out of the pits for the first time, I'm going to give you a lap guide around KF1 at Kranji so you can experience all the corners with me. So this would actually be turn 3 after a couple of slight kinks and S's. That's usually flat out, but obviously we're on our warm-up guide at the moment. It's so cool that they actually have the trains running in both directions across the track or over the top of the track as we come through this tight right-hander and then up to another tight left, so sort of going mid-track for this and then drifting out wide. You actually zigzag under the bridge a few times, and trains are going all the time. They're metro trains, so they're every couple of minutes. It's awesome. Coming up towards the main overtaking opportunity, I would say, which is at the hairpin here. Left-handed hairpin, pretty standard, just 180-degree hairpin, and then slight S's flat out through there. And then onto the back section. Again, slight S's, but they're completely flat out, braking into another nearly hairpin, more of a tight right-hander onto the start-finish straight before we come up to the S's again. And that is a lap around KF1 at Kranji. After that nice little overtake, I was eventually able to get my confidence up and build up my speed to some sort of decent lap times. I actually think this is probably the best go-kart track I've ever been to. We'll come on to it later, the karts aren't actually the best. But in terms of the track itself, it's one of the best. There are a lot of areas that could do with some resurfacing, a lot of bumps and potholes and, yeah, just poor track surface. But in terms of design, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And there's a lot of decent racing opportunities if you're going to be in a race here as well. But it's really also just fun to hot lap. So I really enjoyed going to this track. I was with my dad on this trip, and he had one of the sessions in our go-karting as well. This is him up front in the grey shirt.
And down the inside goes Daniel Ricciardo. What a move from the Australian.
Then I had a bit of traffic to deal with, but managed to get through it pretty comfortably. And then as we head up the start-finish straight, you can see the checkered flag waving on the left, signaling the end to our first session. Although some people didn't quite understand this. We saw the red flag and headed into the pits, and I went to check out the massive timing board to see where I'd ended up, and I did pretty well, ending up in P3 with a best lap time of 108.282. Between sessions, I went upstairs and I saw that they actually have this replica Formula style car, which amazingly, you're allowed to sit in. I know it's not real, but this is probably the closest I will ever get to sitting in a real Formula car. And it was just amazing to be sat in that seat, shoulders hunkered down underneath the tub of the car and looking over the steering wheel at that view of the wheels. They also had this go-kart simulator with some Moser equipment, and it looks like it even has motion, but it's $10 for 10 minutes and I didn't have $10 or 10 minutes. Anyway, time for session 2. Dad wasn't in this one, so I gave him a little wave in the stands as I went past. Now, I know it's a cliche when slow drivers get in rental karts and do badly, they blame the karts and say, oh, this one's been run more, the engine isn't working as well, my kart's slower. But trust me, I promise you this was actually the case. My times dropped 2 seconds between session 1 and session 2. And don't forget, in session 2, I've learnt the track by now, so I've figured out my lines. I'm racing a lot closer to the track's edge. Personally, I think I'm driving much better, but my time was still 2 seconds down on session 1. So I've got this overlay here, so you can see a lap from session 1 and a lap from session 2 on top of each other, and we can see exactly where I lost time, and it's pretty much everywhere. The gap is just massive. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to beat my time from session 1. And again, seeing the checkered flag, it was time to return to the pits and check out my times, bearing in mind they're definitely slower. When I jumped in my car for session 3, I didn't realize this was going to happen, but the guy came up and told me to go slow first lap because he's going to set us up on the starting grid for a standing start race.
Go slowly first lap. Yeah. I will stop you on starting grid. Okay? Oh, okay, sure.
Now, luckily enough, we didn't qualify for this. It was just a fun race, so it was whichever kart you jumped into. And I happened to jump into the kart at the front, so I was actually starting on pole position. Here we are on the grid. And it's lights out and away we go. I got an okay start, but I think I may have a significant weight penalty compared to some of these other drivers, and the driver to my left got a decent start as well, overtaking me into the S's. I could see someone on my outside, so I defended into the right-hander, keeping my position, but I'm getting hounded from every angle. Coming under the bridge with the train going across it, into a tight right, followed by the tight left again. The driver in P1 is getting away from me quickly here. Looking to my left and to my right, just checking where the other drivers are. He's made a little mistake in front, but it's not quite enough for me to catch up, and now is the biggest overtaking opportunity of them all. Coming down to the hairpin, I can see someone on my left. I think I've covered it off, but he's going for it anyway, but he's made a massive mistake, and I've done well to avoid it there. That was a reckless and silly move by the other driver, and I've managed to avoid that and capitalize on his mistake, keeping me in P2. Down towards the final corner. Keeping it nice and tidy. And that is the end of lap 1. I have lost a position, but still in P2 at this moment. As I said, I'm on the heavier side at the moment, so I'm carrying a bit of a weight penalty compared to some of these other guys. And I suspect I may have not had a great kart again, because my times were also 2 seconds slower than my first session. But nevertheless, I've got defending to do, and I think I can keep some decent positions. Taking some nice racing lines, looking to my left and to my right, making sure no other drivers are coming through, but I'm being hounded every single lap. Again, up to the hairpin. Someone's got a good run on me. I'm letting them go on the left. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And it's a switchback. It's a beautiful switchback. Whoa! Now that is absolutely lovely. Unfortunately, this is where my camera dies. But that gives us an opportunity to look at this switchback again from a TV broadcast angle. That is absolutely stunning. Great work. Although he does eventually get me into the last corner, diving down the inside. I could have been more aggressive on my defense there, but... Now next lap, we actually have a different driver who's again got a run on me into the hairpin, and I'm going to try the same move. A switchback attempt again, but it hasn't gone quite as well. He's got good traction on the exit. I do try and squeeze him into the wall a little bit. Bit of dirty tactics there, but he gets away, and I end up driving into a P4 finish.
Only weakness I have is for the brunettes. You already know I'll kill any shit I do next. No kids, so I'm raising the roof. Next year they'll admit they just stands like an Uzbek.